Happy New Year, Adam. Did you have a good break?
And Happy New Year to you too.
Excellent. A little bit of a dry topic, but we've been discussing over the last few days about the recent news on the Pensions Dashboard. Why on earth is this so difficult?
Well, I think there are several things at play here. The first is that the scale of the task is probably a little bit beyond where you might think it is. When we think pensions, we think maybe as 20 or 30 mainstream pension providers in the private sector. But actually, when you count up all of the pension providers plus the final salary schemes and so on and so forth, you're actually talking about 40-odd thousand organizations that administer pensions for the public. Well, you then tasked with getting them all to produce information to a standardized format, and then get all that presumably down some sort of API where people can easily access that data from one central space. I mean, that's not an insignificant task. And as I understand it, and I'm not intimately involved with this, but as I understand it, essentially, whilst the government have recognized the need for this to happen, and there really is a need for it to happen, they've essentially told the industry to just get on and make it happen without really providing much in the way of support or structure around it. So inevitably, that means it's a project led by a committee, and we all know how that plays out. So yes, it's a little bit frustratingly slow, but the need for it is genuine.
When you say the need for it, I guess everybody should have the knowledge, the information about their pension scheme or pension schemes. Why do you think there's this black hole? Why aren't more people clamoring for this information?
Well, it's been a long-standing topic that we have covered on a number of occasions and tried to raise awareness of it. But there is this strange blind spot particularly in the British public. I don't think you find the same in the USA or Japan or whatever, but here in the UK, the moment that you say the word pension, people just switch off and go to sleep, even though in many cases it will be the most valuable asset they will ever accumulate, and they might obsess over the value of their house or their ISAs or what have you, but they'll go pension blind when the subject comes up, and part of that, I suppose, is that the provision of pension schemes to the general public is a bit jargony and a bit technical and so forth. But nonetheless, behind all of the language, it's real money that really belongs to you. So this problem of getting people to engage with it is not exactly new, but I think the Pensions Dashboard, where you'll be able to go in there very quickly in pounds and pence, see exactly what it is that you own or are entitled to, will hopefully build some connectivity between the public and their pension pots.
You say that the industry's been left to really facilitate this pensions dashboard. Do we think it's about time that the government did step up and provide some kind of framework or resource or whatever to actually kickstart this whole thing?
I'm going to put this as delicately as I can, but the governments successively have not necessarily shone when it comes to producing IT projects that are on time and on budget. So I think it's probably wise to let the industry get on and deliver it. And I think there's no lack of political will to make sure it's delivered. The pensions minister has said that he expects this to happen, and happen it will in due course. It's just, as ever with these types of projects, I say, especially ones led by a committee, is somewhat dogged by delay, but we'll get there. But I don't think the government stepping in at this point is going to do anything other than produce further delay.
I think there does seem to be a slight disconnect there, though, that between the reality, which is that this money is at the moment unproductively, well, productively as far as the insurance companies are concerned, but unproductively sitting on the sidelines. It does seem that some kind of government initiative, and by that I just mean money, to help push this forward would be in everybody's interest, not least the government's interest.
I fully agree, but it's my experience that the government, and let's be honest, money isn't exactly in free supply anyway at the moment, but governments giving money to a project would normally, you would expect there to be a degree of governance. This is taxpayers' money, and a degree of control as to how that is spent. And I can't personally see that cost is the issue here. Particularly the pensions industry is a really, really wealthy industry. I mean, it's got 2 trillion and counting of assets under management. And there are some staggeringly profitable pensions providers. So it's not like they've been forced to dig deep particularly.
No, in which case it does strike me that potentially the problem is more one of priority. And it may just be that this continues to slide down a priority ladder in a world where there appears to be, or there is, a whole bunch of things that are more critical at any moment.
There is that, but I think, as I say, if you're trying to get a result where 40,000 different organizations agree over format, connectivity, what information should be contained, whether it contains current information or projected values, these types of things, in which case, how do you standardize those projections? All these types of questions require a steering committee to essentially dream them all up, then put them all out for consultation, then get them all back in and work out what kind of technology is required to make it all happen. And it could be that the flip of what you say is true, and actually they were just a bit optimistic on delivery dates when they first all got together. I mean, we all know every IT project that's ever happened in the history of IT projects has never really come to pass in quite the way it was first mooted. So my concern isn't that it's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a really important idea, and it's to me it will be absolutely crucial in getting individuals to own their pensions, and it will happen. It's just it was always going to be a bit of a bigger task than originally envisaged.
All right. Well, I do appreciate your optimism. I have to say, I probably think that they've even overestimated their date of 2023 right at this minute, at the January 2021. It seems like
you may well be right.
Yeah, this feels like a long burn.
Well, yeah, but pensions by their very nature are long-term things. We have a growing number. I think last time we touched on this, it was something like £900 million worth of assets that belong to people in pension schemes that are unclaimed or orphaned and effectively inactive. There's a huge economic shot in the arm to reuniting all that money with their owners, with its rightful owners. It's a big chunk of cash.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for that, and look forward to our next chat.
You're welcome.